Hi, my name's Devon. I've been married for 25 years and I have a family of 6. As an individual entrepreneur, my company has been on the Inc. 5000 list more than just about anybody in this country. I do want you to know, I don't know the easy way in anything. I only know the hard way. I want to talk about hiring because it's difficult and there's an art to it, and I got to tell you, don't beat yourself up if you're not 50-50 at best. So, the best hirers in the world try to beat that 50% rate. But I'm going to share with you what's worked for me. Long time ago, someone told me something very simple, and this is going to sound elementary to you, but it was write out exactly what you want this person to do. And most people call this a job spec. And it's funny because I'm like, well, this is silly. I know what I want them to do. But what I realized was happening was I was interviewing people, and then I was making the person fit the position. And because I'd like the person, so I really like this person, so I forced them into the position. And what happens is if you do a job spec and you write it well, it should actually be pretty precise. Like, you shouldn't have 2 pages of job spec. It should be probably, 6 or 7 kind of bullet points that you're fairly inflexible about. Like, they have to hit these 7 bullet points, and maybe I can flex if, they hit 5 of the 7 and I really like the person. But if you don't craft the framework in the beginning, you're gonna make the person fit the position. So the first thing you do is get really precise within that job spec. And I mean, spend some time on it, right? Write it up, then narrow it down, then write it up again, narrow it down, and get it very precise. Once you have that, then your HR folks should be able to narrow down, and if they're doing their job, they should only bring people to you that fit that spec. Now, if you don't have HR folks, you gotta make sure that the people that you choose for your short list fit that spec. And you have to have a short list. You at least have to have 2 candidates that fill that spec. Once you have it narrowed down to 2, maybe 3 folks that actually hit each of those bullet points, those 5 out of 7 or 7 out of 7 bullet points, now what's really helped me is looking for what I want. So if they meet those needs, the next thing that I want is I want someone that's excited to work for you. That might sound very elementary, but if you've interviewed people before, you're gonna find that there are people that genuinely want to be part of your organization and are excited to work with you. And then there are gonna be people that are like, you're gonna be excited to have me. That's often hard, right? If you have someone that hey, you want them more than they want you, it's gonna be hard to keep that person happy. So the first thing is I find someone that's genuinely excited about working with your organization. The next thing I do is I look for work ethic. Are they a hard worker? You can, and everyone in their interview is gonna tell you, right? But there's some telltale signs when you're interviewing them. And this is where you back reference, right? This is where you back reference people. This is where you figure out how long they've been at jobs. This is where you find out if they've grown in other positions. You'll be able to identify the hard work when you really start digging. So first thing is they want to work for you. Second thing is they're hard workers. Third thing is attitude, just an overwhelming sense of gratitude and excitement and energy. I like high energy people. They fit my culture, they fit our vibe, they fit what we do. And then the fourth thing I would say, and it's super important, is teachable. Because as I talked about before, you're gonna have to develop people, because if you think just because they hit those 5 or 7 bullet points that you put in your job spec that they come in, ready-made and already an incredible person in your organization, that just doesn't happen. They've got to be teachable, and you've got to be able to grow them up. If they're not teachable, you can give them your best every day and they're gonna stay the same. But if there's someone that's hungry to develop and to grow and to be taught and to learn, that's the 4th element that I think is key to making a great hire. So again, I'll summarize, listen, there's a lot of ways to take shortcuts on this, and this is definitely the hard way to interview, but I believe if you do this, you'll be happy that you did. I hope this helps.